Hello, I'm Janna and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. I am super excited. I was able to get my hands on this month's Simon Says Stamp card making kit. Now, it isn't just any kit, and I typically don't go for the whole kit thing, but this one was all about Tim Holtz. So, if you'd like to see exactly what we're going to be doing, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be looking at the February Simon Says Stamp card making kit. Now, I typically go in for kits and things, but I could not resist this one. And you'll see why in just a moment, primarily due to its theme. So let's take a look at what's inside the bag. So here we are. And just at a glance look, you can tell there are a lot of Tim Holtz things in here. Now, this kit is pretty special, and we'll get into that in just a moment. So, when you get the card kit from Simon Says Stamp, you're going to be getting a full bottle of Distress Collage Medium, my glue of choice for all things crafty. You get a Simon Says Stamp branded VersaFine Clair ink. This one's Nocturne. I've never used this before, so I'm very curious how this is going to hold up next to the traditional Distress Archival ink Black Soot that I normally use. We'll be doing a little bit of a cross test just to see how these play. You also get 3 Distress watercolor pencils. Now, I'm told that the colors may vary from kit to kit. I happen to get Dusty Concord, Broken China, and Dried Marigold. And these are some of the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor pencils. Then we have got a full pack of the Tim Holtz Idea-ology ephemera set palette. I love this one. It has so many fun pieces, and we're going to be using some of these to create cards today. So very excited about this. And in this pack, this is how many pieces is this one? Well, it's a lot. There's a lot of pieces. So, can't wait to dive in. Then, we have got a Simon Says Stamp embossing folder. Let's open this up and see what we've got. We have got a 3D embossing folder, and this has got hearts on it, very appropriate for February. I'll be very curious to see how this works. It looks like a great pattern. And, oh, they sent us a little candy. We'll put that aside. Then we have a pretty in pink envelope. And here, let's see, we've got some card bases. Okay. Useful. Then we also have some foam squares. Foam squares are absolutely great. They are some of my favorite things for adding dimension to projects. So I'll be very happy to be using these. Now, the main thing that sold me on this kit is the piece that comes next. I am super excited about this. I had a chance to watch the live with Heidi when this kit was unveiled, and she mentioned a couple of things about this kit. For starters, it's all pretty much Tim Holtz themed. And this in particular, Tim did have a hand in designing this. These are pieces pulled from the Idea-ology line, and the images were created and recreated into stamps. That is too cool. I recognize so many of these pieces from other things that we've gotten our hands on through Idea-ology. It's like a token of love. There's actually like a little circular round token of love ephemera piece out there. The butterfly is super familiar. The special, like, I'm recognizing so many pieces from different things. So very excited about the stamp set. It is a clear stamp set. That's different from the red rubber I like to use, but I can't resist. This is Tim Holtz. Like, how can I not dive into this? All right. And we've got a advertisement card. That's that. And then we have some paper. We've got a white and a... Oh, wait a minute. This is Distress Watercolor cardstock. I know that. texture's a dead giveaway. And then there's some pink. Cool. So I can chop that up for some backgrounds in a moment. Great. And here is just some notes about the kit, and this is how some people have used it. That's pretty cool. There's some lovely designs on here. But of course, we're going to create our own thing and start exploring. So the first thing that I do want to do is work with the embossing folder. I'm not that familiar with it, so I want to do a quick play with that. And then we're going to explore the ink, because for me, that's probably my biggest question with the entire kit, since I'm not familiar with VersaFine. All right, let's go ahead and emboss, and we will be right back to start playing. Here is the embossing folder. This is by Simon Says Stamp. I've actually never used one of their folders before, so this is interesting. Ooh, so here is the heart background. It's got some great dimension. I do like it. It's very nice. Cool. So let's do a little something to grunge this up a bit. So this is interesting. It's a little different from what I'm used to seeing, since I typically only use the Tim Holtz folders, but it works great. I don't know if it's my imagination, but it looks almost a little bit thicker than what I typically have seen. So I'm just kind of curious. I want to compare that with another folder. All right, this is an Impresslit folder, but it's still the same material. I guess that is the same size. Yeah. It is. Oh, that's... Yeah, I guess it is the same. It's just the color that's different. I don't know why. It feels a little bit different in my hand. But the size seems to be the same, like for the thickness, and the material seems to be pretty much the same. Okay, that's slightly more textured. That's why it feels so different to me. This is kind of more like silky smooth on the inside. This has like just a little bit of grit to it. That's it. That's why it feels different. All right, but very, very cool. That is fun. Definitely be using that in the future for more Valentine's Day projects. All right, so we have this. Now I wanted to do just a little bit of inking just to grunge this up a tad. So I've got some distress ink. We've got a dome foam. Let's see what we can do. Just going to start going around the corners. Just a little bit of grunge. And maybe we'll just kind of brush over the tops of the hearts. Good. And let's see, just kind of very lightly. There we go. That's what I wanted. There, just enough grunge so that this isn't entirely too pink. All right, neat. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ink. So this is new to me entirely. We've got the VersaFine ink. Never used it before, but I've heard good things about it. I am very curious how this is going to be stamping and reacting with other things. So, best way to test things out, bring in a tag. So let's go ahead. We're going to open this up. Okay. Ooh, that's... Wow, what the... That plastic. It's a very light plastic. That's interesting. I don't know why. I expected a bit more of heft when lifting up the ink pad. Yeah, I don't know. Must be a different type of plastic. Okay, so the big question is, how does it ink? And how are things going to look when we stamp? So let's get a stamping block out. And we're going to find out how this is going to play. All right, I think we will start with the butterfly. It seems like a good starting place to me. Okay, we've got our butterfly. Stick that down right here. Now I'm going to stamp with the Distress Black Archival Soot first, and then I'll wipe the stamp off and we'll try the VersaFine. This is just so I have a baseline for what I'm used to while stamping. So we'll put that ink down, get our butterfly evenly coated. Okay. So we'll put the black soot on the top. Another thing that's different is using clear stamps. I don't do that too often. Okay. I think we got it. All right. Now let's see what the VersaFine. Okay. Let's quickly wipe that butterfly off. All right, let's see what we have. Okay, that is interesting. That's really dark. I want to stamp that again because I'm just wondering if I didn't get enough stamp with the archival. That's going to be interesting. I want to try that again. Okay. Okay. That looks about right for archival. Now I'm just cleaning that off so that we'll get a good idea of how the VersaFine actually is. Okay, so here is what I'm noticing. It seems to me that the VersaClair is just a bit darker. I'm wondering if that's because it has more of a blue undertone to it, or if this is the lighting, because this seems to have like a little bit more, maybe on the reddish side, I don't know. So now that we have both of these images stamped, I want to do just a little bit of coloring with Distress watercolor pencils. So the colors that we were sent include Broken China, Dusty Concrete, and Dried Marigold. I've already got those open in stock here, so let's just grab those. All right, Broken China. Broken China. Excellent. Okay. So we'll start with these, and we've got a watercolor brush. So let's see what we can do. I'm just curious now how this is going to play with the Distress watercolor pencils. It should play really nicely, so I'm expecting good things. I'm just going to take my watercolor brush, and I'm just brushing that over the watercolor pencil so I can get some color on here. All right. As expected, plays nicely with archivals, no smudging, no running. All is good. And let's see, what about with the Nocturne? Yeah, so far so good. Coloring seems completely normal. Works well with the Distress palette, as far as I can tell. Cool. Got some of that lovely Dusty Concord on here. And now we'll go in with some Broken China. I'm not going to color the whole butterfly. I'm just trying to get a feel for how the supplies are playing with each other. Because the Nocturne was definitely a bit of a surprise. Alright, let's see. Yep. Seems to be quite nice. Great. Color is good. Nothing has smudged. That's excellent. And just going back over to the archival. All right. There we go. So we have some lovely butterflies here. And stamping, I'm definitely seeing great detail with the other one. We just have a little bit more darkness with the VersaFine Claire. So, well, depending on how you want to stamp and how you want your images to look, switching around inks can definitely benefit your stamping game. All right, so now that we've played with the ink, we kind of have a better idea of how things work. Let's see about making a background or two. So I think what we're going to do is we'll do a little bit of stamping, a little bit of spraying, and we will go from there and build a couple of cards. I'm also thinking we're definitely going to want to do some collage. So you know what? Let's work on some collage first. And then maybe we can add a stamped element as a main focal point. All right. So let's see what we have here. We've got so many pieces. So many things. Just going to kind of do a little bit of a collage scape, and then we'll figure out where everything's going, and I'll commit to gluing things down after I've had a chance to kind of play and move things around. Oh, see, that's what I was talking. This is a token of love, and now we have that same image with the stamp set right there. Pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, I've got this. That's nice. Let's see, what else do I have that's kind of long? Oh, that works. I like that. So many pieces. This is what I love about Idea-ology. So many fun things to play with. Okay. Oh, what do we have here? Nope. Okay. Got plenty of good things. Lots and lots of choice. Oh, that's cool. Put that over here. I don't need two of those. Oh, that's good. Let's see. I need about one more piece, and then I think we'll be all set. So, what have we got? Perfect. Okay, so we've got our pieces. Let's go ahead and start collaging these all together. So we're going to go ahead and put things on fast forward as we get a bit of glue. Here is our finished collage background. I am very happy with the collage look. So I'm going to let this dry, and we will come back to this because I do want to add a bit of grunge with some Distress Walnut Stain Crayon. So for the moment, we'll let this dry. while we wait, I have got a background that's been in my stash for a bit, and I was thinking we could alter this with a little bit of stamping. So also in the stamp set, we get this really neat section of musical notation. So I thought that would be fun to add into this card background. So just take that. We'll take our stamping block. Let's double check which way the notation is going. Okay. All right, I see the treble clef. There we go. As a musician, I would be very, very annoyed. As a musician, I would be quite annoyed if I ended up with my musical notation upside down. So, have to double check that position of the treble clef, which is right here. And when we flip it, it will be on the right-hand side, facing the correct side up. All right, let's go ahead and ink. We're using the Versa Claire Fine Simon Says Stamp Edition. Okay, and let's see. So we're just going to kind of stamp. I don't really want to press too much, but enough to get the notation. Okay. I like it kind of broken up. That kind of works. So I'm not going to completely smush this. All right. Let's see what happens here. All right, not bad. And here. Good. And a last little line right there. Okay. That works out pretty well. So the next thing we're going to do is go back to our collaged background and start adding some distress crayon. Now that our collaged piece is all dry, let's go ahead and add some Distress Walnut Stain crayon. I'm just going to be tracing around the edges of all of the pieces of ephemera, just a light trace with the crayon, and then I'll be able to go back and give it a good smudge. So we're just going to work our way around each little piece of ephemera, and this is going to add a really nice layer of grunge for us. Now, the crayon is gliding really nicely over the collage medium, and that is one of my favorite ways to use distress crayon. Collage medium, then distress crayon, it makes for a nice slip and slide surface to play with. Now, if the crayon starts to dry a little too fast, this could be due to temperature or the age of your crayons, you can always take a little bit of water, put it off to the side, and use that to dip your finger in when you go to smudge. I like to do that anyway, just to make sure everything smudges nicely on the first time. So I'm just going to take a finger and we're going to work our way all the way around the card, smudging these lines out, and then we'll have a really nice vintagey background. So much fun putting all the collage pieces together. I love these. They've already got great color, but adding that little extra detail, I think really brings a background together. And they were pretty bright. And since we are working on a pink background, I have to give it just a little bit more grunge. Gotta keep going with that fun vintagey vibe. Okay, and it looks like we are good. So we now have a background we're ready to create with. All right, let's go ahead and bring back our other background. I want to give the crayon just a moment to set up, and then we'll go back to it. So right now I've got some pre-selected pieces of ephemera, and we're going to be building our card. I love the big flowers, and I really wanted to use them as part of the main focal point. Now I'm going to be going in with some mini foam squares, and this is just going to help give our card a little bit of dimension. The foam squares are great to just give a little lift, and that also means I'll be able to sneak little bits of ephemera underneath and get a really nice layered look. So let's go ahead, take those little pieces off the back, and then stick these beautiful flowers down in the center. It's a great focal piece. Love the detail on that. Okay, let's see, about here. That's good. And next, ooh, you know what? Change position. Just sliding this around just a little bit. There we go. If you notice in the background, we have a foiled stamped image, and I love having that little bit of gold added in. All right,
So I'm happy with the flowers. Now let's take some collage medium, and we just need a little bit, and we'll scribble that onto our pieces and then stick those down. This is going to be a nice, easy card. We pulled from our background stash, we altered it just a little bit with some stamping, and now we're pulling in all of these fun bits and pieces of ephemera to finish off our card. So taking some more glue, thin glue strand around the edge. We don't need this to have a lot of glue coming out from under the edge. Just trying to keep this kind of nice and neat. There we go. All right. I really like those little frames. You kind of get to see some pieces behind the pieces. I like that about this. And I have a longer strip here. I actually pulled this from another set. This was from the Idea-ology strip set. And it's just like a whole long batch of skinny trims. And they are great. Just a nice little addition to anchor a card. So we have that. Now I think I want to go in for the butterflies. And these we're also going to be giving a little bit of lift to. So I've got some more foam squares. And we can just take a couple of those, stick them down, and then add them right to our card. There we go. Once we have those down, all we'll need is a sentiment. Not bad. This is a pretty quick card to put together, but it looks like we spent a lot more time on it than we really did. Having that background stash at your disposal is a wonderful thing. If you're in a creative mood and you create a ton of backgrounds when you're not so creative, you can then pull on that stash and jumpstart ideas. Okay, let's flip this over. We'll trim this little piece off. There we go. All right. I like it. We've got all sorts of color going on here, and I'm loving the flowers and the little bit of added shine in the background. So let's take a look. I think I'm going to stamp a sentiment. Why not? Let's check out our options. I've got a little piece of scrap paper we can use. Yeah. All right, so we have got, I think that is hugs and kisses. So we'll just quickly pull in our stamping block. We've got our little scrap piece of paper. And we can go ahead and stamp this out. I'm going to pull in the VersaFine ink. It is nice and convenient. And let's stamp our sentiment, carefully lining things up. There we go. Very simple. We were just able to use a little scrap that was left over from part of our collage. All right, just a little bit of glue, and this card is going to be done. Nice and easy. All right, we've got our sentiment, and let's go ahead and place that. Where do I want to place it? Maybe near the top. That should be a good spot. Gently place that up there. All right. I am happy with this card. So that's card number 1. Now we're going to jump back to our other card and finish that off. I still love that bit of shine we have. Very, very fun. Okay, so I forgot. We've got more stamps to play with. Now, I figured since we're here, we can do an extra bonus background, and I want to do a little bit of embossing. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some paper, and we're also going to grab our embossing dabber, and we're just going to tap that quickly over that beautiful ornate floral image. And then I'm thinking we're going to be embossing with some Ranger Gold embossing powder. I mean, why not? We're here, and then I can add to my background stash for another day. So we've got our ink on here. Now let's go ahead and stamp this down. I think I'm going to stamp twice, and we're going to be kind of stamping off the paper. It's a pretty big stamp, so we can stamp the parts and pieces of it. Good from pressure and lift. Great. I can already see that we've got a pretty good impression. I'll just go back and give this a little bit more embossing ink, and then we'll stamp again, and then we can add our embossing powder. There we go. Stamp. And then we can lift this off and see what we have and go from there. All right. We got a nice smooth transfer. So I'm going to need some scrap paper. Don't need a whole lot. This little piece should do nicely. we've got our embossing powder, and I'll just pour that right on. There we go. And we'll have that little scrap paper catch it. Good. All right, that looks great. And let's do the other side while we're here. And we'll sprinkle the powder on. Our scrap paper is going to catch that extra. There we go. Give it a little tap on the side. And that's already looking good. The detail of the stamp is going to be fantastic. All right, I'm going to set this down for a moment, and we're going to quickly scoop that powder back into the jar. All right, and here is our end result. We have got some beautiful embossing on here. Now, can't just leave it plain. Have to go into some color, and I have got peacock feathers and vintage photo. So we're going to give our mixed media paper a good spray first. Then I'll add a few sprays of the vintage photo, and then we'll go in with the peacock feathers. I love this color combo. It's grungy and colorful all at the same time. And right now, peacock feathers is definitely one of my favorite inks. It's a strong contender right now with chipped sapphire. All right, there we go. Let's dry this off and see what we get. Here is our finished background, and that is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Definitely has a lot of vibrancy going on. Okay, so now we're going to bring back that last card base, and we're going to finish the card. We need a focal point and maybe a few added extra pieces. So we're going to start with a bit of foam, and we've got this lovely purple book cover, and that's going to be the grounding point for our focal piece. So let's go ahead, we'll take that off the back, and bonus, we get a little bit of dimension here. Okay, we've got our pieces gone. Now let's flip that over and line this up the best we can. All right, we've got our nice collage background. Now we've got a landing zone. Now I love the girl with the book. She is one of my favorites, and I had to include her on this card. But let's add just a little bit of vintage photo around the edges for that little extra vintage look. Kind of want to give it a worn photo look. Okay, good. And now a little bit of glue. We'll just go ahead and scribble that on there and then be able to stick this down. Great. Take that, flip it over, and place that right here. That looks so good against the purple background. I love it. Now to add just a couple of last minute embellishments and then a sentiment. Well, you know what? Let's do the sentiment first. So this is one of the thick board chip quotes, and we're just going to grunge that up a little bit with some vintage photo ink. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And now we just need a dash of glue on the back. Great. And this says, don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. That's a great sentiment. I love it. Okay, so what else do I want to add? I think I want to add in at least one of the butterflies that we colored and stamped earlier. That would be a good addition. Yeah, we'll take that and put it at the top corner of this. Great. So let's go ahead and grab some glue, and we can just glue that right down. Okay, oh, the broken china really pops on the grungy background. That is very pretty. It's a nice little accent, but then we've got the dusty concord, which definitely blends with that purple piece in the background. All right, not bad. We've got our card, we've got our quote, we've got collage going on. I am pretty happy with this. Now, to recap, today we've been playing with the February card making kit from Simon Says Stamp, featuring many Tim Holtz elements, including a stamp set that he had a hand in designing. I loved this kit. It's got all of the fun elements that I greatly enjoy, and I got to be introduced to a few new things like VersaFine ink and that beautiful heart embossing folder. I had so much fun creating and exploring, and I'm looking forward to creating more things with this kit. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some card making fun. Until next time, happy crafting!